On Bridges, Beaches, and Britney Spears. 1. Halfway down Watkins Road, there was an old bridge. Maybe there still is. Just after Smith's Farms, their signs promising fall frolics and best hay rides in town. The bridge was narrow, and if it was lit at all, I don't remember that. My image of the bridge is darkness, of trepidation mixed with hope. The rumor was that if you parked on the bridge at midnight, turned off your radio and lights, then tapped your horn 3 times, Headless Mary would come tell you your future. Or steal your head, depending on her mood. An urban myth cousin to Bloody Mary, who showed you your future husband in a bathroom mirror. Headless Mary wasn't the domestic sort. By the time we could drive and test it out ourselves, Jenny and I had all but parted ways. I have pictures of her from formals and school plays, but that was it. In middle school, we bought necklaces from Afterthoughts in the mall. A heart broken in 2 with the words, "best friends," etched in the metal. Necklaces every late 80s tween girl had to have. By high school, we were more like comfortable work acquaintances who just happened to know each other's fondest hopes and a few secrets not even worth telling anymore. We used to write up obituaries for our future selves that would have impressed even Robin Leach. Jenny would win an Oscar, maybe several, and be lifelong partners with David Faustino from Married with Children, or perhaps Sean Astin, who was just that guy from Goonies and Whitewater Summer, and not yet Samwise Gamgee. If we'd known that EGOT was an option, she would have dreamed for that too. I wasn't too particular about a partner, just that there would be one. But I would most certainly have a Pulitzer by 22. Realism has never been my strong point. That has been what saved me. Quick privilege test. As you're raising the window in the beach house your parents have rented for the week to celebrate the conferral of your PhD, something snaps in the casing and a gear breaks, making the window unusable. Do you report it to the management, assuming that you're a paying guest and it's their responsibility to fix what's broken? Or do you keep it to yourself, afraid they'll charge you for breaking the window? Trick question. You're in a beach house. You just got a PhD. You're privileged. It doesn't matter that I have a crooked incisor because orthodonture wasn't something worth going into debt for. Eating and paying the mortgage were. It doesn't matter that I have over $100,000 in student loan debt. It doesn't matter that I've never been out of the country and that renting that beach house was the first real family vacation we'd ever had, since I don't count going to Virginia to get my brother out of jail or tagging along with my father on business trips when he used to service industrial scales. None of that matters because we're middle class now and I'm an academic. It doesn't matter that I still cringe anytime someone starts a sentence with, "You know how it is." Chances are that I don't. When the window broke at the beach house, I didn't report it. My internal voice machine was already ratcheted up to 11. Why were you opening the window? Didn't you see the sign saying to keep them shut when the air conditioner's running? How hard were you lifting? Were you forcing it? You should know better than to force things. I don't. That has been what saved me. Sometimes I forget she's dead. When I finished my PhD, I was writing a long and sappy status update to both thank people for their help along the way and draw more attention to my accomplishment. I went to tag her. I was tagging all those people who once meant so much to me. Robin, who snuck out of the house to do nothing but drive around through cornfields and housing developments talking about boys. Mickey, who said it would be fine if we played ping pong beside her brother's extensive Lego collection, taking the heat when all the castles lay shattered back to bricks. Ladidra, who called late Saturday nights to discuss the doctor's regeneration or Adric's self-sacrifice. I tagged them all to let them know I'm not a fuck-up anymore, I tag them all to let them know that working class kids from Ohio can get PhDs from good schools, can be writers, or maybe just to let them know that I have done this thing and to trick the Facebook algorithm into showing the post to more people, getting myself more attention. It works. It has 158 likes and 56 comments, 57 if you count the one I put there myself to get Facebook to put it on more people's walls. Then I went to tag her. She died before Facebook, so there's no memorial account to prove she lived, and posed for selfies. I type her name in anyway and let the text stand on its own with no connection, no links. To celebrate my graduation, I convinced my parents to rent a beach house on St. George Island. Never underestimate the pride and excitement of a retired steelworker with good stock options. I claimed the room on the 3rd floor because it's the only one with a view of the Gulf of Mexico. The view from my childhood bedroom was of a maple tree and a drainage ditch filled with algae. There are steep stairs to the room and even steeper ones from the house to the beach. By the end of the first day, my quads ache. On the second, I'm walking on my tiptoes because my calves and ankles have tightened. It's worth it to see the constant movement of the water, beautiful cliche of the return to the womb, dangerous life hidden in the depths, what lies behind this horizon. Another horizon. She walked on her toes while we were at the mall on the far east side of Columbus, the one so cleverly named Eastland. The boys would holler at her, "You a ballerina or something? Put your feet down, freak." When we got older, it was, "Baby got back. Hey, baby, yo, baby, what's your number, baby?" She still walked on her toes, but they didn't seem to notice. She could never break herself of the habit, so she played in the pit on Friday nights while the rest of us marched on the field, our 12 minutes of fame before the real stars made their way back on the field. Only she could hear each set of gloved hands clapping louder and longer to stay warm in the late October chill. All we could hear was a collective mass of applause. I couldn't ever bring myself to ask why she did it. Didn't want to be just another person making fun of her. Now I think she was reaching for something, wanting that little bit extra, even though it made her calves ache. Quick privilege test. Britney Spears is in an old people magazine in the bathroom of the beach house. She smiles a contented smile as she talks about her jokester sons and living the settled life in Las Vegas. Having been turned down for the Mickey Mouse Club because she was too young, an 8-year-old Brit got enrolled in the Professional Performing Arts School in New York City to hone her craft before finally getting on the show 2 years later. Is the takeaway from this story that perseverance and hard work pay off? Or that natural talent only gets you so far without someone on the inside guiding you? Jenny tried out for the Mickey Mouse Club that same year as little Britney. Disney was looking for wholesome, and what better place to look than Hits All the Averages Columbus? She practiced for weeks with our old elementary school music teacher, banging out Peter Cetera's Glory of Love, sanitizing the lyrics. Kids Bop before Kids Bop. It sounded stiff, but technically proficient, each note hitting its assigned beat. Jenny belting out the words, straining to do choreography up on her toes. She wanted it all so badly. Badly enough to spend all day in the Holiday Inn off of Hamilton and 71, surrounded by girls from Cleveland who'd had professional lessons, and ones from out in the country whose hair wasn't nearly so big, who came with a practiced natural charm she'd never be able to get down. In the end, she didn't even get a call back, though our friend Holly did. Too old at 12, she'd been on the upper end of the range, but had hoped anyway. The ones who were picked went on to stardom, and she went on to, "You're not living up to your potential," working at Captain D's with all the rest of our friends who smelled like fried fish but got all the hush puppies they could eat, dropping out of DeVry before going to Columbus State before probably dropping out of that too. I'm not sure about going into the water when I'm on my period. Someone caught a bull shark here the day we arrived, a 6-footer. A Google search says I need to chillax, that's an old wives' tale. I'm an old wife, perimenopausal and married 16 years, so I think my fear is legitimate. I put in a tampon and head out to the beach anyway. They will always be uncomfortable to me, but I love the ocean. I want the ocean, sharks and all. My mother never used them, so my first experience was with Jenny. She wanted to swim in her grandmother's pool, and we were good children of the 80s, believing the commercials. Tampax would let us do anything we wanted. We looked at the schematic of our vagina, cervix, and uterus. It made no sense, making our insides look like a baby pig turned on its head. The diagram didn't correlate to anything we had. She'd go into the bathroom, come out frowning. We'd look at the informative insert again. She'd return to the bathroom for another go-round. After 10 minutes, she said screw it and went in without one. She could have been my rebel hero, but her legend of Billie Jean confidence lasted only a few seconds. She got worried her grandmother would come home from work to find a bloody pool. We packed up quickly and walked back to our own neighborhood to watch Another World and drink peach New York seltzer on the couch. The water didn't look any different to me. I have always been good at ignoring things. That has been what saved me. I am here only because she died. The news came to me not quite 10 years ago as I was sitting at the reception desk of the Women and Gender Studies program at Ohio University. The job had been my escape from responsibility while I figured a few things out. As the administrative assistant, I followed rules, regulations, policies, and procedures. Everything flowed evenly and predictably. The work had its hard days, organizing tenure packets, and its easy ones, printing certificates for graduating students. But guiding it all were those lovely, lovely rules. I could stay there forever. If I wrote, I wrote, and if I didn't, I didn't. No harm, no foul, no risk, steady paycheck. We were barely 30 when she passed away. I hadn't seen her for 6 years. There was no Facebook yet, so I didn't click like when her daughter was born or when she got engaged. To the child's father? I didn't say hugs when she was diagnosed with lupus or frowny face as her kidneys began to fail. I knew none of it until a friend sent me her obituary. As I read her life, I judged her in a way we're all familiar with, but have trouble rectifying with an image of ourselves as good and compassionate people. I judged her life as I would have judged my own, harshly. At 13, she had said she was going to be an actress and then marry Sean Astin or David Faustino. She was going to be famous. She was going to be fabulous. She was going to get out of Ohio. And the world said, be more realistic. The world said, you're too old to be a Mouseketeer. And what if you get blood in the pool? The world is no one's cheerleader. I was disappointed in her death, disappointed in her giving up, even though I know it's better to commend her strength, to applaud her as a good mother. She was a good mother. Of course she was. And if not, who will say any different now? When I leave the island of St. George to check out a nearby town, I have to drive across a bay. I almost turn back. From the bridge, you can see where the town is. Its tourist shops and shrimp boats. You can see where the bridge starts, so low it feels like it'll sink into the water if the winds blow wrong. But then the road goes up like a roller coaster, and dear God, it looks like the whole damn thing is just going to drop off and dump you in with the mullets and groupers. You can see cars coming the other way, so there must be road to get to the town, but you can't see it. Maybe it's better to just drive back to St. George Island and watch the waves from the patio by the pool. I have never known when to quit. That has been what saved me. That essay originally appeared in Connotation Press in May of 2017. And it was originally written, it was originally drafted in May of 2015, right after I had finished my PhD. One of the good things about essays is there's not a whole lot more to say because there's a lot in there. Though I will say, one thing I will say is that it was written 8 years ago. So any of the things that say I'm this or I'm that in terms of I'm an academic or my age, that's not accurate anymore. I haven't been in academia for 5 years at this point. And essays are hard for me because I feel like, to be honest, like at the end there, being very honest about how when I heard that Jenny had died, how disappointed I was that she never got to try to live her dream. But also that was a mindset that I had 8 years ago that I don't think I share now. I think I've gotten over my achievement addiction a little bit, and I'm a little bit kinder on the world, I think. I don't know. There's still somebody back in there though that's pretty harsh about everything. Ugh. Let's get her out of there. She's not good for nothing. Except writing essays and poems, because the publishing world seems to like that a lot sometimes. Though it's not always necessarily great for my own day-to-day stability. Because it's that same voice that says that I didn't like, right? That language that I'm using, so full of itself. So sure that it was going to sometime eventually get a book picked up, eventually get a tenure track job, because of course I was going to a very good school. I had tried very, very hard. I was blah, 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 blah. Whatever. I think I had to tell myself that to keep myself going. And I think I will get a book eventually. It's just about finding the right presses. And I say presses because I got lots of things, right? Got lots of things. It's just about finding the right fit for them. And I will eventually find the right fit for them. Maybe it's a press that doesn't even exist right now. I think about that often, especially like with my novel, because it's a weird little popcorn fart in a skillet, right? Maybe the right press just hasn't been formed yet. And when it's formed, my novel will be ready for it. Same thing with the poems, the poetry collection about Granny. I don't think it's as sort of, I think it's more gentle, but there's some subtlety in there that I think isn't necessarily playing well from some audiences. Because the title is The Swellest Wife Anyone Ever Had, and it's kind of tongue in cheek, because she fights against the notion of domesticity throughout the whole thing. But she doesn't do it in the way that we are used to wanting to see women do it, where it's like, I mean, she still does it, but she's not sad. So we either want to see women either sad and mired in domesticity and hating it, or breaking out from it. And it's so, that just doesn't allow for the complexities though, does it? Of reality, which is, reality is complex. And essays are kind of nice because they do let you deal with that a little bit more. But then in a certain way, I feel like that essay is kind of stuck in 2015. In a way, it's like a little time capsule. It's my little time capsule of my thinking. So I wanted to share it with you all, because I've been thinking about stuff like that lately. I've been thinking about who I was, who I am, who I'm hoping to be. And that essay, I think, really encapsulates a lot of who I was at a certain time. It's interesting because it's who I was at a certain time responding to who I was at another certain time. Writing. It's fun like that. Little time capsules for your soul. if you'd like to see more content like this, and who wouldn't? Come on. You sat through a very long essay. Well, it's like 9 pages. It wasn't like 30. And my little ramble. So I appreciate that you stayed with me through this, and I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified whenever I have new essays and poetry and fiction up. To be honest, though, not many essays, mainly poetry, a little bit of fiction, a few essays here and there. So I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel and click like if you've liked it. And if you didn't like it, please don't hate watch me. My soul can feel it when you hate watch me. It takes a little nip away. But that's what you want, isn't it? That's what you want. Anyway, I hope you liked it. And if you liked it, please click like. That was the whole point of that. That was the point of that. Thanks for stopping by.